Sukhi Hotu, may you all be well and happy. We are all going through a very difficult period right now, and it is a challenging time for the whole world. First of all, I would like to extend blessings to you to stay safe and healthy. May you all receive the blessings of the great compassion of the Buddha. May you receive the blessings of the sublime Dhamma. May you receive the blessings of the enlightened disciples of the Buddha. And by the power of this noble triple gem, may you be protected, may you be blessed with good health, and may you have a stronger immunity. As we are going through this COVID-19 pandemic, it is important that we turn to Dhamma practice, because it is the Dhamma practice that can help us to go through this difficult period with some strength within us. This pandemic has taught us so many lessons. One important lesson is about the true refuge, because when everything is going smoothly, we tend to rely more on our prosperity, our wealth, or our fame, our reputation, or even our physical strength. We think that those wealth or power or physical strength can bring us what we need. But during this kind of period, we realize that actually true refuge, the more reliable refuge in our life is not those things. True refuge is the inner quality that we develop through the teachings of the Buddha. The true refuge in our life is actually the Buddha as a great teacher and guide and example for us, and the great teachings of the Buddha, and also the disciples of the Buddha, the triple gem. So it's important to remember, what is the true refuge, and it's important to reconnect and reassure our true refuge during this time. And this is also a period that we can put into practice what we have been training our minds for. We have been practicing so many things in our life. We have been listening to Dhamma talks, we have been attending retreats, we have been doing our chanting and doing charity works, all these kinds of practices. So doing these practices can develop certain skills, certain virtues, certain qualities in us. And this is the time that actually we need to put these skills and qualities into use to spend this difficult time. It is like in sports. As you know, in sports, people have a training session and then they have a game day. Many sport men and sports women, they engage in training. They have practice days. They keep on practicing, and then there will be a game day. During the game day, they use all the skills and techniques that learned during the practice period into use to face the game. So our spiritual practice is also quite the same. We train our mind in all different skills of mindfulness, compassion, loving kindness, patience, endurance, all these skills, of course, developing our wisdom. So going and listening to the Dhamma talks, practicing meditation and chanting, and serving others, attending to temple activities, and these are like training, like practice session. And whenever we encounter difficulty in our life, a challenge in our life, like we lost something, or we have a problem in our family or in our workplace, those situations, challenging situations, are like game days. During this COVID-19 pandemic, we have got a real big game day. We need all the techniques, all the skills that we have learned through our Dhamma practice today to go through this period. So I would like to highlight two important skills that you can use during this difficult period. And one is mindfulness. We have been training mindfulness. We have been hearing about mindfulness a lot, by listening to the Dharma talks, and you have practiced meditation, and then mindfulness is going to going to be useful for us during these days. And mindfulness can really help us, really save us actually, because mindfulness is the ability to observe our own body and observe our own mind, and simply objectively observe what is happening in our body and also what is occurring in our mind. And through that observation, we can decide which kind of behavior, which kind of thoughts we need to develop, or which kinds of thoughts and behavior we need to weaken. So during this period, we can use that skill of mindfulness to pay attention to what we do with our hands, what we do with our bodies, and particularly be mindful where we touch with our hands. If we can really use that mindfulness, like you always being watchful and mindful where you touch, and not touching surfaces without like unmindfully. So always be mindful where you touch and try not to touch if you can. At the same time, we unwittingly touch our face most of the time. At least according to studies, at least we touch our face every 3 minutes. So we can use our mindfulness not to touch our face unwittingly, and always be mindful with our hands. And if you touch your face, you really make sure that you wash your hands before you touch or fix anything in your face. So using mindfulness to be aware what we do with our hands are going to save your life during these days. So please make use of that skill and try to apply that mindfulness. And at the same time, mindfulness can also help us to observe what is going on in our mind. During this period, when we hear the news about the number of patients are increasing, many countries are going through such difficult times, whenever we hear those news, it is possible that we can experience fear, anxiety, and sadness, all kind of negative emotions. It's very natural, very normal. So we can use mindfulness to watch those emotions arising. It's okay to have fear. It is normally those emotions can arise in our mind, but we can use mindfulness to watch them, and then not to develop them further and further and further into a mental state that can really harm us. So what we can do, we can use mindfulness to watch what is arising in our mind. When we are fearful, we acknowledge, we see, we observe that fearful nature. We observe what is happening in my mind, and also what are the related sensations with that fear, with the tightness of the muscles, the changing in the breath patterns, whatever. So we observe that state of fear and anxiety, and then the related sensations. Then once you observe it, those emotions will not grow. So then we get an opportunity to replace those negative emotions with the wholesome one. Whenever we experience fear, if we can use mindfulness to detect it and be aware that, oh, fear has arising in my mind. Whenever we have that kind of awareness, then we can purposely change that emotion with the good one. We can turn our attention to good things, because there are so many people out there working so hard to help to mitigate the effects of this pandemic. There are healthcare workers, there are healthcare professionals and healthcare workers and other people who are working day and night to help people. So we can think about those people. We can think about other institutions. We can think about other measures taken by authorities to prevent this. So whenever we have fear, we acknowledge it, and then we quickly replace it with gratitude towards all dedicated people who are out there ready to help other people. So using mindfulness, we can acknowledge negative emotions and then replace it with positive emotion like gratitude. At the same time, the second skill we can use during this time is loving kindness. We have practiced loving kindness meditation, and this is the time we need it the most, because loving kindness can heal ourselves. It can also heal others too. So practice that loving kindness and always generate that loving kindness as much as you can. And you can first practice loving kindness to yourself. Taking care of yourself is practice of loving kindness. The best help we can do right now to the world is not to become a link of the chain of this virus. If we can protect ourselves, if we can take care of ourselves, we break the chain, so we don't push that chain to someone else. So you have to take care of yourself and making sure that you wash your hands always. Make sure that you follow the advices we get from healthcare experts, and taking care of the body, taking care of the mind, and then hopefully if you can, do some exercise even at home, and then that is practice of loving kindness to yourself. And then we can actually expand the loving kindness to others. And this is the time that all people need loving kindness, and we should be ready always to expand that and radiate that loving kindness. It's very important that we can, whenever we hear about patients, whenever we hear about very difficult situations in other countries, just repeat in your mind like a mantra, loving kindness wish. May they be well, may they be safe, may they be healed. Like be well, be safe, be healed. Those are good wishes you can do. So simply repeating those phrases can help you, and also can help so many others, because we are radiating a positive energy always, not really negative energy. We don't contribute to the negativity to the world, but we are contributing to the positivity to the world. So keep doing that. We can also start more regular practice, like morning meditation every morning. How good if we can start with the loving kindness meditation, wishing a safer day for the world. And every morning we wish that may all the people in the world be well, may they be safe, and may whoever affected by this virus be healed, and may they recover soon. How good if we can start our day with that kind of wish. So we can start a morning loving kindness meditation during these days as a regular practice. So I will upload another video to help you to practice such a morning meditation every day. And usually we complain that we are busy, we don't have time for practices like meditation or maybe reading a Dharma book. But this is a good period, like a retreat. We can use this period to improve our spirituality. And also we can act with loving kindness. Not only we keep wishing everyone well-being, we can also act with loving kindness. And particularly these days, we don't have opportunity to go out and help other people, but there are also many ways we can be helpful to others. Like whenever you do shopping, and make sure that you only buy the things that you need, and you leave the other items for other people to buy. Like don't hoard and don't collect things, and that is a good practice of loving kindness. At the same time, we can also think about helping elderly people. Maybe some people may not be able to go out and shop, so particularly elderly people are vulnerable. Maybe we can do shopping for them. Of course, we need to maintain enough physical distance with them, but we can do that kind of help. So even like calling those elderly people, or calling someone who is staying at home, no one to talk to, and make sure that we can give them a call and ask about them, and that is an act of loving kindness. There can be so many people that who need some attention, some kind of care. So you can be that person, even giving them a call, and then you can also think about donating to charities, which help the poor people during this time, particularly to get their necessary food. We can think about that too. So keep practicing loving kindness. One thing we can also use during this time is the teachings of impermanence of the Buddha. And we have learned about the impermanence, teachings of the impermanence. And we learned that that everything in this world is impermanent. Even this pandemic is impermanent. It's very important thing to remember. But how? Uh, because everything is impermanent, so is this pandemic. This will too pass. This too will pass. But how fast it will pass will depend on our action today. So if we act vigilantly, if enough people in the world act vigilantly with mindfulness, and this pandemic can pass very well, because this pandemic is this virus is passing from person to person. It is not like a natural disaster like tornado or hurricane or thunderstorm. This is passing from person to person. So if we can become mindful and we can stop this, and there are countries which has controlled this virus, so this will too pass. But let's contribute our role, our part to stop this as fast as we can. So having that attitude is very important. And this pandemic can also be a very important wake-up call for all of us. This pandemic is like teaching us that, like asking us to pay attention to how we treat animals, and how we take care of this earth, how we treat nature. And we have to rethink of all these things. I hope that people, and particularly the authorities and governments, will pay attention to change policies, and as at the level of individuals, we can also make changes to the level of our consumption. Sometimes we consume too much, like our nature, our earth cannot afford, and sometimes we do not have any care for animals. So at the individual level, we can think about and change our pattern of consumption and how we treat animals. So I hope that something good will come uh, after something good will come from this pandemic. Whenever whenever this pandemic is over, hopefully some positive things will remain with us. So that's the advice I can give you today. And again, I wish that may you be safe, and may you be well, and may you remain healthy, and you can keep spreading loving kindness, not the virus, but loving kindness, and keep practicing that loving kindness. Have that mantra: be well, be safe, and be healed, to everyone in the world. So I wish, may you all be healthy, may you all stay safe, and keep spreading loving kindness. Thank you.